I am opening IntelliJ. Yes, this was the yesterday's project. Okay, anyways, this was the project yesterday that we had created, right? Where we learned about the data types, int and string, and how do we treat the variables. How do we use the variables? How do we create the variables? How do we initialize the variables? And then how do we use the variables? All right. Today, I am not going to make the changes in the same project. Yesterday, for the purpose of how to create the project, I had created this project and then did all the programs in this project. But going forward, I'll be creating all the programs in the another regular project that it is already running, that is app 4. Okay, I'm just closing all the opened programs already. We need a fresh one, right? All right. So here I'm just creating a folder here. Folder is nothing but package. So I would just name it as backup. Let's create a first program for today. I'm creating, right click on backup, new Java class. Very first Java program or the first Java class for today. All right. So we had got public class A automatically. The next step, we need to write PSVM. We had got public static void main of string args open bracket closed bracket. All right. Now let's understand how the variables works. Right? How the variables can be created, how they can be initialized, and how they can be used. Okay. Before I start the real program, I would like to write some notes here. Variables. Variables are nothing but the fields or attributes. Fields or attributes, right? Whose values can be changed. Can be changed in Java programs. Variables are nothing but the fields or the attributes whose values can be changed in Java programs. Okay. How the life cycle of the variables works. Okay. How the life cycle of variables. There are three stages of there are three stages in the life cycle of the variables. What are those? One is declaration. Declaration. Second one is initialization. Initialization. Third one is usage. Third one is usage. Declaration is also called as a creation. Creation. Okay. Declaration, initialization, and usage. These are the three life cycle stages for the variables. Now let's see how these three stages works in terms of the programs. Let's go back to our class A, which was already created, right? Int I. int I. I'm just taking variables of type int just for the examples. Int I equal to 10, and then s out of I. We have all the three stages implemented here. Whenever you do this way, this is the declaration. This is the declaration. This is initialization. Initialization. And this is usage. This is usage. Whenever you create a variable and you specify the data type, that means it is a declaration. So first we need to declare the variable with a data type. So that data type can be of anything, but that depends on our requirement. Based on the requirement, we need to give the data type for a variable. Based on the requirement, we need to give a data type for the variable. Okay. Variable names should always starts with small letter. The best, you can even put the capital letters also, but the variable names should always, the best practice for writing the variable names are, variable names should always start with small letter. Always start with small letter. And its names must be meaningful. Its names must be meaningful. Alright. Names must be meaningful. So whenever you are creating a variable, the very first stage is we need to do the declaration or the creation, and the second stage is initialization, and third stage is usage. These are the three sequence that we need to follow. You cannot directly use a variable without doing the declaration and initialization. You cannot directly initialize the variable without the declaration, right? So whenever you are working with any variables, it is always mandatory to follow the same sequence. First it has to be declared, and then it has to be initialized, then only we should be able to use it. Without declaration initialization we cannot use it. We must follow above stages in sequence, in same sequence, otherwise it gives CTE. What is CTE? Compilation, compile time error. Compile time error. Okay. So let's say for example, if I am commenting it out the line number 7, will it work? Will it work if I comment it out? No. No. See, we are missing the declaration. As soon as I remove the declaration, it is showing the red color. What it is saying? It is saying cannot resolve symbol. I, I. That means I is not declared. Okay. Let's say I'll put it. Now I'll remove this initialization. See, can I do the usage? No. It is saying I variable might not have been initialized. Exactly the same thing that we are missing, right? Usage is optional. Once you declare it and then initialize it, usage is optional. You may or may not use it, but there should not be any unused variables. That is a better practice, right? So whenever you are creating any variables, that means that will have the need, right? Otherwise, you don't create it, right? When you don't need to use any variable, there is no point in creating and initializing it. Clear, guys? Any doubt so far?
Now, instead of this, we can directly write int I is equal to 10, right?
Yeah, that is the next step. Yeah, we can do that as well. So here, let's first run this program and then see the output. For the first time in the morning, so it takes some time. You see it, value 10 is printed. Now, as you said, what are the various ways? What are the various alternate ways of doing the same thing, right? One is int cannot create the same variable with the same name. So I would create the different variable with the different name. Int j equal to what's happening here? We are doing both the declaration and initialization in the same line. This is also possible where we can do both the declaration and initialization. We can do both of them in the same line. Then you can use the variable like this. So here it is declaration plus initialization. And here it is usage. Here A, A. This is the another way of doing initialization plus usage. Let's run the program and then see the output. See, for I it is printed 10, for J it is printing 20, and for K we are printing 30. See, what are we doing here? Here declaration is happening alone, declaration is happening alone, and here initialization plus usage both are happening together. So these are the various ways that we are doing. But most probably in majority of the cases, we don't use this way at all. This is just for the learning. And out of these two, majority of the cases, will be using this. And then the next one is this one. Clear any doubts here?
No, no doubts.
Okay. So now we have learned about the variables, how they can be declared, initialized, and used. And we had seen only one data type. Now let's learn about the data types. We had seen only int and string for now. You can do the practice with the different data types also. You can use string and then try various things here. Apart from string and int, there are many other data types, right? So I'll create another package within this backup data types, and these two things I'll move it to another package variables. Okay. Let's select this. Just move it here. Okay. So now the data types. So first we'll create a nodes for the data types. What are the various data types we have? As I was explaining in the Tuesdays or Mondays class regarding the typecasting, we had learned a few data types. I think all of you had attended that session, right? So it's the same data types, but now we are learning from the starting, right? So we have how many data types? Byte, short, int, long, float, double, char, boolean. We have these many data types, right? Out of these many data types, number related data types are, these are all the number related data types: byte, short, int, long, float, double. Okay. For alphabetical char and string. Okay, I did not write the string here. That shouldn't actually come in the sequence, but yeah, we can put it. Then for the Boolean values are called the true and false. There is no third value for Boolean. So these are the various data types that we have. Okay. Now let's learn about each data type here. Okay. So I'll write one simple program to learn about byte. We had already learned about all these things. I'll just copy paste the same thing here. So we had created the class byte example, obviously the PSVM. Inside PSVM, this is the way we can create the variable of type byte. Okay, there is a range for byte data type, that is minus 128 to 127. If you assign any value more than 127, byte will not be able to hold it. Now we had put 100, which is within this range, it is accepted. But if I put 130, which is more than 127, it has given the error because bytes range is only 127. The maximum range for the byte is 127. So we need to put it within 100. Let's just run this example and then see the output. We get 100 as it is. Yeah, clear? Let's run the next data type. This is short example. Well, for short also, we have the examples already. I'm just copy pasting instead of writing it again. Yeah. So we have written the PSVM. We have written PSVM and then short, we have created a variable a with the data type short, and the value we assigned is 2022. The maximum range or the range for short data type is minus 32,768 to 32,767. If you assign any value which is more than 32,767, it will give the error. Let's just try 32,770. It is giving the error. It cannot hold the more than 32,767. 767 accepts. 768, no, it is not acceptable. Clear? Very simple and straightforward. Let's move to the next data type. After short, what it comes? Int. Example. Even for int, we have the ready-made examples. I'm just copy pasting. So very similar. We have written the PSVM, and then we are creating a variable a with the data type int, and the value assigned is 10,000, and then SOP of a. The range for int is this one. The range for int is this one. You cannot assign any value more than this. More than this. If you see here, 2147483647, this is the last number. If I put 8, it is not acceptable, which is more than this. So the maximum is this value. I don't know whether it is 2 crores or 20 lakhs, I don't know. But this is a range. Now let's move to the next data type. After int, what it comes? Byte short int long.
Long.
Again, I just copy paste from the existing code. So this is the way that we create the variables of type long, and then a equal to some value. The range for long is this one, and you notice L in the end. All the long variables, the values of the long variables will have L in the end. But here we just put 100. If you run the program, you will see the difference. If you want to explicitly specify a value as long, then you need to put L in the end. Okay. L in the end. This is the range for long. Next, what is the next data type? Float. Let's copy the same piece of code that is already existing. Float a equal to 100. This is the way that we create the variables of data type float. Okay. For float, you can put the f. So whenever you want to create any numbers with the single decimal point, then you should use the float data type. Whenever you want to use any values with the single decimal point, then you should use float. See, though I had put 100, it had given 100.0. But when I gave 10.2f, it had given 10.2. You can add f in the end of a float variable. There is no range for float. You can use all the numbers, but the main purpose of float is to handle the single decimal point, not about the ranges. It is about the decimal points, but it is only single decimal point. Let's move to the next thing. Example. Again, go here. Double, we are creating a variable a with the keyword double data type. If we want to hold any values which is more than one decimal point, more than one decimal point, then we should go for the double. If you want to hold any values with more than one decimal point, then we should go for the double. That can be 2 decimal, 3 decimal, 4 decimal, 5 decimal, 6 decimal, or whatever it is. Even the float, even the single decimal also you can put within the double. But float is restricted to single decimal, but double is not restricted to any decimal point. It can hold any number of decimal points. Right. Cool. What else we have? Again, the double data type also doesn't have any range. This can be used for any numbers but with the decimal points. Next, char example. Char is for what? Char is a data type which is used to hold single character. Single character. When we say single letter in programming language, we call it as a character. Single character. If you add another character, no, it is not accepted. Right? And it should be always enclosed with the single quotes. Character data type variables should be always enclosed with single character with the single quotes. Clear? The next example, next data type, boolean example. We are creating a variable a of data type boolean. This can hold either true or false. There is no third value, and these true and false should not be in the double quotes. If you are putting it in the double quotes, it will become a string, right? So boolean variables can always hold either true or false, no third value. Clear? Any doubt so far? These are all the data types that we have in Java. Any doubts? These are all the data types we have in Java. Byte, short, int, long, float, double, char, boolean, and string. String we already know that doesn't comes under these data types. Okay, we have these many data types. You might ask a question, why there are the ranges and how do we handle the ranges, or how do you remember the ranges? Maybe byte is simple and short is maybe slightly simple, but long is very difficult to remember, right? So you don't have to remember these ranges, it doesn't matter, you don't have to remember. Okay, just for the learning purpose I'm giving you the maximum ranges here, but there are restrictions around this. But in real time we'll be mostly using boolean, will use char, will use very rarely, double we'll use mostly, float very rarely or we never use, and int very commonly we'll use the int and long. Short and byte, I had never seen in my experience that we used these two data types. Clear guys, any doubts on the data types? Can I move to the next topic?
Yes, yes, Raghu.
Great. Now again I'm switching back to the variables folder here, right? In the same notes, I'll let me just close all the other files here. Now we know what is a variable and what are the various stages of the variables. Now let's see what are the various types of the variables. Various types of the variables. There are two types of variables. One is Raghu, any idea what are the various types? We had learned it already.
There are two variables, global variable and local variable, right?
Exactly. Local variables
And global.
and global variables. Global variables. What are the local variables?
I'm not sure, Raghu.
If variables are declared inside a method or called as local variables. The variables are declared inside a method are called as local variables. Life of local variables will be within in the method only. Within the method only. Scope or the life of the local variables will be within the method only, and they won't be available outside the method. Outside the method. Outside the method. Local variables should be initialized. Should be initialized before usage. Should be initialized before usage. Otherwise, it is CTE. I'm not going to write CTE again. What is CTE? This is the short word I'll be using for compile time error, CTE. Clear? Next, let's talk about global variables. If variables are declared declared outside the methods are called global variables. Global variables. Global variables will be available throughout the class. Throughout the class, not restricted to one method. Throughout the class. Throughout the class. Global variables can be used without initialization also. Without initialization also. global when we don't initialize global variables, they can be survived with default values based on its data type okay. I'm not sure how much you understood out of these sentences. Let's learn programmatically how these points makes difference in code. Okay. So let's first look at the local variables. I think local variables we had already seen, right? This is a local variable. Here I is a local variable. Why? Because it is created inside the main method. This is a main method. We call this as main method. So far I did not mention the word method for a reason, but now I am mentioning the word. We call this as a main method, which starts at here and then ends here. Okay, this is a complete one method, and that is a main method. What is the name of the method here? It is a main method. If you are creating any variables within the method, they are called as the local variables. When you are creating any variables within the method, they are called as the local variables. All right, now what is the next point? Life of the local variables will be within the method only. You cannot use this local variable outside of this method. Somewhere here you cannot use it. These variables should be declared inside the method, should be initialized within the method, and then used within the method, not outside the method. Okay, and local variables should be initialized before usage. This we had learnt it already. Whether you do first stage or second stage, but before usage it has to be initialized. It has to be initialized, right? I had already shown you that if we comment out this line, then it will give the error saying that it has not been initialized. It's the same thing. Now let's look about the global variables. Let me write a example. Create new Java class B. Okay. Writing the main method. How do I write the main method? PSVM. PSVM and then enter, or control space bar. If it doesn't come, you can press control space bar in your keyboard. Okay. Global variables. What was the definition of the global variables? It should be declared outside the method. Then where should I declare it? I should declare it here. Int I equal to 10. Now I'll use static also. Right. Now I is a global variable because this is outside the method. I is a global variable of data type int and its value is 10. So if I want to use it here, just I, SOP of I. Clear?
Raghu, is it like only int we supposed to use or any data type we can use?
Sorry?
Only int we have to use or any other data types?
You can use any data type. Just for learning purpose, I'm using the
Understood.
int.
Got it.
Okay, the concept is same.
Okay.
The variable can be of any type, but the behavior will be same
Change.
with respect to local variable or global variable.
Oh, got
The
it.
data types are depending on the data that we want to hold. we decide the
Mm-hmm.
data types,
Okay, got
right?
it.
Depending on the data that we want to hold, we decide on the
Mm-hmm.
data type. But when it comes to the local variables and global variables, the behavior is same across the
Mm-hmm.
data types with respect to local and global. Clear?
Clear, clear,
Yeah.
yes.
So any doubt in this program? Should not be
No
any doubt.
doubt.
Cool. So we had learned about this particular point, right, which is created outside the method are called as a global variable, and these variables will be available throughout the class, so you can use anywhere within the class. That is the second point. Global variables can be used without initialization also. Now let's learn this third point. I am creating a new Java class C. Okay, creating a variable static int I. Okay, and then PSVM. Out. See, I had not initialized the value, but it is not giving the error. That is the point that we are learning here. Global variables can be used without initialization also. When we don't initialize the global variables, they can be survived with the default values based on its data type. This is the most important point. They can be survived with default values based on its data type. What does it mean? So int is a data type to hold what type of data? Numbers, right? So what can be the default value for the numbers?
Uh, no, no.
What can be the default value for the numbers?
For int 128 minus to 128
No,
something.
that is the range. I'm
Uh-huh.
talking about the default value.
Which was 10.
No, why it is 10? I was just for the example, I was using 10.
Okay.
Default values
0.
0, exactly. For the number
Okay.
data types, the default values are 0. Okay, if you use int, it will be 0. For byte, it will be 0. Short, it will be 0, right? And for float, it will be 0 0.0. For double, it
Bit
will be 0
double zero.
0.00, right? And
Yes.
for char, what will be the default?
It's a character. Then it must be like A,
It can just hold the single character,
single
right? We
character.
cannot limit to any character A or B or C or D or Z. It will be just empty character. Empty character is just a space.
Space. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Those are
And
the default.
for Boolean, what are the possible values?
I think that is also empty.
No. For Boolean, what are the possible values first?
True and false.
True and false. There is no third value, right?
Yes.
So the default value also has to be within these two values, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then false is the default value for the Boolean
Boolean.
data type. False is the default value for Boolean data type. And then we have what else? String, right? String can hold
Yes.
any text. So default value for string is also empty space. Empty space. Let's look at each data type here, how they are. Static, byte, A. Static, short, B. Static, int is already written. I will change the name as C. Static. After int, what comes?
Long.
Long D. Static float E. Static double
Double.
F. Static
R.
char G. Static
Boolean.
boolean H. Static string I. That's all the data types that we have, or did we miss anything?
Yes.
Okay. Now it is A. Let's just make it little more meaningful. I'll just default value for byte. B. Yep. G. H. A. Short. Int. Long. Float. Char. H is of what? Boolean. This is string. Right. Let's see what are the default values for this. Running the program. For byte, it is 0, short 0, int 0, long 0. For float, 0, 0.0, right? Double 0, 0.0. For character, you see the question mark empty space. This is a garbage character. You should not say question mark. You should say empty character. For boolean, false. For string, it is null. Null means nothing. Null means nothing. Okay. These are the default values for each data type. But if you specify any values here, those values will be printed here. Clear, guys? Which we had already seen here, right? If you specify any value, those values will be printed. But if you don't initialize any values, these are the default values for each data type. Clear?
Yeah, clear.
Let's write a new program. Yes, we are. So far we had seen writing yes out with only either numbers or strings, right? For example, hello world. That's out of 100. Right? How do we mix up both, right? Or let's say we have multiple variables. String a equal to hello world. String b equal to good morning. Today is and int date equal to 26. Yes, out of I would say C for now. A plus B plus C. Output, what will be the output here? No guesses?
Hello, good morning. Page 26.
Let's run the program and see the hello world. Good morning. Today is 26. See, even if you had put a space here, the same space is coming here, right? Good morning, comma, space. Today is, and again space. It is 26. Right? This is how plus works in the yes out. If you want to add or append the text inside, then you should use the plus symbol. Similarly, let's say I have int a equal to 10. A is already there, right? So int d equal to 10, int e equal to 20. If I do the yes out of d plus e, what will happen with this line? What will happen? D plus e, guys, 10 plus 20 what?
30 it will print.
30. Because both are numbers, right? Both are numbers. In the above example, two variables are strings and one variable is a number. You cannot do the addition, right, with the text and numbers. So obviously, this is how it will work with the mix of different data types, especially with the string and any number related data types. But when the data types are same, 10 plus 20, D plus E, then it is a mathematical operation. D plus E, it is a mathematical operation. Similarly, yes, so far today is plus 26. What will be printed here? Today is 26. If you put 26 within this, right, what will happen? 26 will be treated as a text, not a number, because if you put anything inside the double quotes, it will be treated as a text. Or if you put C, what is the value of C here? 26, right? So whenever we want to combine a fixed or static text with a variable, fixed text or a variable, then you should use the plus symbol. Plus symbol. Here C is a different data type and this is a different data type, right? So whenever you want to combine the variables, then you should use the plus symbol. Plus symbol. Plus symbol. Another example is has to be outside C plus again some text, comma republic A. Let's see the output. Today is 26, comma Republic Day. The value of C is 26 here, right? So whenever you want to print with some fixed text which is in the double quotes and a variable and then again some fixed text, then it has to be enclosed with plus on the both sides. If it is the last thing, right, then plus on the left side is enough. But if you still have anything to put it on the right side, then you need another plus in the right side. Clear? Any doubts here? Any confusion, guys?
No, it's clear.
Cool. I think this is all for today. So we had covered the variables and the data types, right? So I'll stop it here. If anybody has any questions, you can ask me now.